Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I am George. We're all George. So tonight, Bitcoin's looking stronger. The market is waiting for something huge tomorrow. And in the meantime, we have a very bullish Bitcoin pattern detected. So let's talk about all these things and what to expect tomorrow. Tomorrow will be absolutely huge. So let's do it. Welcome, guys. Hopefully you guys are having a good day, good evening, wherever you may be. Looking at Bitcoin, we're above 60,000 once again, 60,700. We pumped up a little bit this morning. The U.S. market actually did pretty well today because we got some favorable inflation data this morning. PPI showed that inflation went up less than expected. Yay. You can see plus 400 for NASDAQ, right? And tomorrow, kind of mixed though, because we're going to get another inflation data. And this one is major. This is going to be CPI, Consumer Price Index. And this will measure inflation for the month of July, last month. Okay, now a lot of banks have made their predictions. Headline, a lot of them think it's going to be 3%. Some say 2.9%. And core inflation, almost everyone thinks it's about 3.2%, right? Last time we did one of these, inflation came in a little bit lower, at the lower end. So we could see tomorrow inflation, headline inflation at 2.9%. Okay. And we can see core inflation at 3.2%. But if we do hit 2.9%, you could see here, it'll be the first time inflation is under 3% since March of 2021, 3 years. If this happens tomorrow, we will definitely get a big rally. If somehow we get even better because the numbers are faked, I don't know. If we get like a 2.8%, tomorrow is going to be 1,000 plus 1,000 day. Okay, it would be absolutely huge. This is what Powell's been waiting for. He said 2 to 3% inflation rate. That's when rates will be cut, right? So basically, this solidifies 100% there will be a rate cut next month, but maybe this means that we're going to get a bigger one, a 50 basis point cut rather than 25 basis point, right? So that's why the market's not moving right now in the pre-market or aftermarket because everyone's waiting for tomorrow, right? And in my opinion, I think it's all according to plan. We know that generally speaking, you want markets to do well during a presidential election because it helps the incumbent win, but the incumbent's not there. But still, it could help one side. So, a lot of people already predicted that this may happen, that, all this is leading up to some crazy rate cut that will get the market going, right? So there's a lot of game theory going on right now, and a lot of people do not believe any of the inflation numbers or numbers that are being put out, right? And rightfully so, because even CPI, they started excluding certain categories because they were too high. I remember the last thing they removed was coffee. For whatever reason, they just removed coffee out of there. I don't know what else they've removed since then, right? So they could be removing all these high inflation categories to make the numbers look better. This has always been, right? Anyways, so tomorrow could be an absolutely huge day. If we get a huge rally, it's definitely going to help push Bitcoin higher and liquidate some shorts. And I got something interesting to show you guys about that. But overall, like I was saying this morning, all this nonsense, right? Like the fudging of numbers, the economic or monetary policies, Federal Reserve shenanigans, central bank shenanigans, inflation shenanigans, all this stuff. The only way to opt out of all of it is to just get into Bitcoin. That's really why Bitcoin was created and why so many are in it. It's really that simple. It's really that simple. Opt out by buying Bitcoin. Now, as for Bitcoin, 3 reasons why Bitcoin traders expect 100,000 Bitcoin by 2025. That's too conservative. 100,000 by the end of this year. I'm going to show you 2 of these reasons, and they both relate to accumulation. This is a very telling story here, okay? If you look at this, blue is accumulating. Red is actually selling. But you can see right now, who are the heaviest accumulators? Well, according to this, wallets with more than 10,000 Bitcoin are the heaviest accumulators right now. Then followed by, you have 1 to 10,000, 100 to 1,000, right? Those 3, that's the whales, right? They are accumulating like Bitcoin's out of style, or will be running out soon. So, you know, here's the thing, right? They know. It's surprising if you look at this, the kind of like the long-term investors, I guess, or maybe like some retail 10 to 100, they're not accumulating as much, but then the under 1 and 1 to 10 are too. So it's weird, like the people that have 10 to 100 feel comfortable, like I don't need to accumulate, but the super gigantic whales are, and the newcomers are too. But that's what you're supposed to do. You have to buy low and sell high in order to make a profit, right? And you know what? We had many dips so far this cycle. We will have many more, and this is how it is. We will keep on having dips. But you got to see them as golden opportunities to pick up, not panic sell situations, right? Because that's exactly what the whales are doing. They now understand more about Bitcoin, and a lot of them believe. A lot of them are still like retail investors. They're very finicky, and they will sell according to like market reaction. But many of them will not anymore. They will continue to load up basically forever, because they know there's only a certain amount that's out there, and that's it. There's a set supply. The scarcity factor will continue to drive Bitcoin higher. Here's another one that's just measuring accumulation, and right now we're in one of those strong accumulation stages. Very, very strong, right? And you know what? This relates a lot. Both of them actually relate a lot to ETFs. And today was a pretty good day, even minus Grayscale dumping. We're still a net inflow. We don't have BlackRock's numbers yet. Tomorrow we will. Could be an absolutely huge day. Someone like BlackRock understands you never want to sell Bitcoin. You only want to buy. And they continue to only have inflows, right? I've basically talked about this every single stream. But there's a reason. There's a reason for that. And here's something else too that just came out like a couple hours ago. We've heard of banks, right? Banks offering Bitcoin and Bitcoin ETFs to their wealthy clients. Now Goldman just disclosed what they have, how much they're holding. Now a lot of this could be for their clients as well. But you look at this. They hold $240 million worth of IBIT, and then $80 million of Fidelity, 35 at Grayscale, 56 of Invesco, and so forth, right? That's a huge, huge amount. We're talking about almost $500 million right there, right? Close to $500 million worth of Bitcoin ETFs. So again, the whales, the institutions, they're loading up. Unlike a lot of retail investors that are panicking, these guys are loading up, and they're not always going to tell you. Sometimes they're forced to, right? Goldman Sachs had to disclose this. Had they not, we would never know that they have $500 million worth of Bitcoin ETFs. Right? Some of these guys are not so forthcoming like Michael Saylor They're not just going to come out and say, I'm going to buy $100 million worth of Bitcoin, right? A lot of them are still just being very coy about it. Now, let's go back in time. Look at this. Look at this tweet from Erik Voorhees back in 2012. He talks about Bitcoin. Bitcoin just broke $7. Now up 40% in the last 30 days, and most people don't know even what we're up to. Imagine being in Bitcoin when it was single digits, $7. Okay. Again, goes to show you the power of holding and DCAing. Had you been DCAing since July 9th, 2012 till now, you would be a billionaire. That's why there are a lot of Bitcoin billionaires, because they've been DCAing all along, no matter what. Even with the 40% up and downs in every cycle that we go through, there's been many. This is the power of DCAing. Now, there are, of course, those that want to trade, and they may want to short the market. Here's another example. Vays. He was pretty big back in the 2017 cycle. Here's one in 2015 where he talks about shorting Bitcoin. The target, the $300 target has been hit. 340 is next, but probably not before 250, 260. Looking to hold or short Bitcoin, right? And that was 2015. That was 9 years ago. But think about it. If you weren't shorting back then and you were just simply, again, buying and accumulating, probably be a billionaire. Well, maybe not a billionaire, but you're certainly a multi-millionaire right now, right? So sometimes you just don't have to try to do anything fancy. You don't have to try to outsmart the market. You don't have to try to short the market. You don't have to try to do anything other than HODL and DCA. It's going to be the same thing now, even at our current level now at 60,000. In 5 years' time, in 9 years' time, in 12 years' time, when Bitcoin is sitting at $1.5 million, $2 million, we're going to have the same kind of X messages, right? And then we're going to be able to refer to some of these past streams where I tell you guys it's still cheap to buy Bitcoin at 50,000 or 60,000 or 80,000 or 100,000, because then in the future, Bitcoin will be well above 7 digits, right? And a lot of people will say, well, I could have bought Bitcoin when it dipped, right? But I didn't listen to George. It's going to be the same thing. This is how it's always been and how it always will be, right? You just HODL and DCA along the way. You don't have to do anything fancy. Nothing fancy at all. And why we will go up higher and why we will be in 7 digits someday. I mean, it's just a matter of, it's a simple concept, supply and demand. Look at this. The balance of Bitcoin on exchanges is going lower and lower and lower and lower. In another 4 years, 8 years, 12 years, the number of Bitcoin circulating around will get so low that it's going to cost enormous amounts of money to even acquire a tenth of a Bitcoin, not let alone 1 Bitcoin. Just to acquire a tenth of Bitcoin will be astronomically expensive, right? Because the demand will keep on going up and the supply will keep on going down. It's really that simple. Really that simple. And here's something that's interesting too from Crypto Rover. Inverse head and shoulders, but this is on a much larger scale. It's not like short term. This is going all the way back to the peak in 2021. And then we had, of course, the drop to 15,000, and now we're back up to 60-something thousand, right? But that certainly does look like a giant inverse head and shoulders. That looks like a very bullish Bitcoin pattern. And if we continue this, that means we're going to get back up to 70s. Yes. We're going to break through our previous high of 73,000. Yes. And our next stop is the parabolic bull run. That's when we break through 6 figures by the end of this year and go up to, I don't know how high, by the end of 2025. Right? So that's what we have to look forward to. It's looking pretty darn good. All right, now outside of Bitcoin, what else is there? What else is looking juicy right now? What about Solana? Well, Solana is always looking good. Explosive growth or speculative surge. Solana actually has been doing quite well. It slowed down a little bit, but still, active addresses soar as this new Fire Dancer upgrade looms, which will make it more decentralized and more stable, which people still complain about, right? So there's that. But then you got a lot of dApps. Here's a trading bot. Never heard of this. Trade with Photon. A trading bot on Solana has achieved significant milestones since its launch, right? 235,000 lifetime users, 10 billion of volume, 100 million of lifetime fees, which actually flipped Pump.Fund, which is crazy if you think about it. I've never really used a trading bot, but I'm wondering if they're good. Maybe they are. But besides that, they do have Pump.Fund, and that is still generating a whole bunch of coins and fees and volume. In fact, 21,000 tokens were launched in just the last 24 hours alone. 21,000, but only 209 succeeded. That's crazy. That's crazy, right? But still, it goes to show you how popular Solana is and why it has so much volume, right? And why so many are coming to it, because it has all the users right now. Helium also, which is a mobile carrier, they're also on Solana. They actually have real world use. People actually can get a phone and pay $20 a month and get unlimited data, right? They're partnered up with T-Mobile right now, but it looks like they're partnering up with 2 other major carriers. If I had to guess, it's probably AT&T and Verizon, because I don't know who else there is. And they're testing out Helium's network right now. That's pretty bullish if you ask me, right? Real world use on a decentralized blockchain. Helium is doing that. So that's very bullish indeed, right? And of course, all this bullishness, all this activity, usage, and volume is going to lead Sol into new heights later this year and next. And it's looking very, very similar to ETH back in the day. Very similar indeed. Lastly, those of you guys that are in Hawaii, now you could use Coinbase. I didn't know Coinbase was not allowed on Hawaii. I figure it's just everywhere in the United States. I had no idea. I don't know how many of you guys are watching from Hawaii. But now you got to use Coinbase. Congratulations. All right. That's pretty much it. Let's do some Q&A. All right, let me scroll up. Let's see if I missed anything. Hoyman says XRP will pump. Crypto Milk says tomorrow 65K Bitcoin or 55. I'd say tomorrow the CPI numbers are going to be good. Headline is going to come in probably 2.9%, and core will probably be 3.2%. If I had to guess, I've been wrong before, but the CPI numbers have been getting better and better and better. King Andrew says, I hope I don't liquidate on my shorts tomorrow. I can't shed a tear for you because I do not like people that short Bitcoin. Ryan Lips saying crypto just isn't the same since BlackRock got its hands in. Why do you say that? I agree with you, but why do you say that? Pebs. George, is BitBoy fighting again in IFC? We've talked before. He may be fighting again in December, but I don't know. I don't know where his head's at, and he was injured before. You know, he's always going through some stuff. But it would be nice if he comes back and fights one of our champs. Crypto Heedley says, George, I have 120K in alts at the moment. Do you think it's a good idea to hold it to the end of the cycle or convert to BTC? I mean, to convert at this point, I don't know. If you're too heavy into alts, if that 120K makes up like 90% of your portfolio, then maybe you think about diversifying, right? But if you have enough Bitcoin already to change now, I don't know. Seems a little bit late to the game, especially now. Alt dominance have been falling a lot versus Bitcoin. You figure it could turn back up again in a couple months. So I guess it depends on your situation. Philip gifted 1 membership. Thank you. Ryan answers question about BlackRock. Just seems like too much manipulation, too much shorting and long. That has nothing to do with BlackRock, my friend. BlackRock right now, temporarily, like short term, have been holding up the market with all their buys. But long term, I agree. No one wants BlackRock to hold such enormous, large amount of Bitcoin. I watched Tiger Max says I watched a Forerunner video from another channel, loved it. Trying to prepare for Meteor tires, which TRD Pros came with 34, 35s. What I learned about all Toyotas, none of them can fit any tire bigger than 33s without major cutting of the fenders, and or you have to lift them like 3 inches or 6 inches. Even the Tundras. If you look at, I mean, like the Forerunners look fine with 33 tires, you know, I think they look fine. But like the Tundra TRDs, if you look at it, if you really look at the wheels and the tires, they look tiny. They really need to have at least 35-inch wheels, tires, and you can't put them on Tundras either. So I don't know what Toyota's deal is. But anyways, Forerunners are awesome. So congrats. Any chance of reviewing a Suburban? Yes. I don't know why. I don't get a lot of Chevy cars. But the new Suburban, you know, just like the Tahoe, they're just awesome. Chevy knows, or GM knows, how to make those big, you know, full-size SUVs. All of them are great. Can't wait to test out the new Cadillac too. The Escalade looks awesome. Thoughts on Musk doing the Trump space on Hoskinson's ranch? It's rumor, it's not. If Sol reaches 1,000, then the fee will also rise. Yes. Yes. Probably. How much will the winner of this presidential election have influence in the bull market? I don't know. I don't know. Oh, man, excuse me. I think tomorrow is going to be a big day. I think tomorrow we're going to see a huge rally. I think that it could be so big it pushes us back above that 63 cent mark to 64,000. That would be absolutely fantastic. We need a little push upwards, right? But long term, like I've been showing you guys, you know, the institutions, don't discount them. They keep loading up. You know, if it wasn't for the institutions right now loading and buying and buying and buying, Bitcoin would probably be a lot lower than now. So short term, they are definitely loading up. They are helping support the price levels that we're at. But long term, it's horrible, right? We don't want Goldman Sachs. We don't want BlackRock to hold so much, right? So you got to accumulate as much as you can while you can, because, you know, like these guys, like Erik, when he was in Bitcoin at $7 or Tone at 300. I mean, I got in Bitcoin when it was, you know, when it first reached 1,000, right? It went down to $160. I was stupid back then. I did not accumulate Bitcoin at $160. I was mining Litecoin and selling everything I had because I was afraid of the dumping, right? Once these opportunities pass by, they'll never come back again. Are we ever going to see Bitcoin at $300 or $7? No. Unless we have apocalypse or aliens invade or we have, you know, World War III and everyone gets nuked to hell. I mean, outside of like, you know, total Armageddon, no, we're not going to see these prices again. It'll be the same thing in the future. 10 years from now, we're going to look back. At least I will. If I'm still streaming in 10 years, hopefully I'm not. I'm going to be showcasing a lot of these videos over the years where I tried to calm people down due to these volatility dips or whatever, and tell you guys, I told you guys so. Elmer just bought the Havoc TRX. It's nice, but the cat squeaks so loud at idle, even after you warm it up. Have you heard of a fix on this? What's a Havoc TRX? Are you still just talking about like a RAM TRX? What's a Havoc TRX? And cats should not squeak at idle. Andrew, thank you. JHC says that's a powerful sneeze. Thank you. Oh, I missed this slide. This is where we are in the halving, or in the cycle versus all the previous cycles, and you could see how much more there is coming. Ryan, remember alts getting this bad other runs? Yes, they were much worse. People that are complaining about, and I'm not saying you specifically, but people that are complaining like, oh, you know, alts are so weak right now, right? It wasn't never like this before. No, you just didn't live through previous cycles. If you did, you would know that alts were way, way weaker in previous cycles, especially around this time frame. None of them moved. This time around, the alts are stronger than ever because we actually have a lot of usage. We have people creating memes. We have so many liquidity providers now. So many people are staking. So many people are using DEXs and self-custody wallets now. There are so many bridges that have liquidity in them. In prior cycles, we just didn't have as much or them at all. So even though the alts have come down with weakness, right? They always do. They are still way stronger than previous cycles. Way, way stronger. My Model 3 2021 battery is losing range. Wondering if Tesla can help with that. Yeah, they'll help you by selling you another Tesla. That's the only thing they're going to do. Chasmway says it held through 85% drawdowns in 2018, 2022, just part of being a cycle. Yes, it's part of being a cycle and it sucks. But the thing is, I don't believe after we top out in 2025 and head into 2026, with so many institutions and companies involved with Bitcoin now, I don't believe we'll see the same kind of crypto winter moving forward. Maybe we'll still have a big dip down, but are we going to see an 80% dip again? I have a hard time seeing that. Maybe unless Bitcoin goes on such a tear of a run, we hit some astronomical mark that no one can imagine right now. Like, let's say Bitcoin hits $500,000, right? Has no business be at $500,000 by the end of next year, but let's say it does. Maybe then we could see an 80% drop. But if we're like just topping out at like 200,000, there's no reason for it to go down to 80%, especially with everyone holding. Maybe we have a 40% correction, 50% correction, right? 200,000 down to 95,000 or something like that. But then we could just pick ourselves back up and continue forward. And that could be the end of the 4-year cycle. We'll still have the halving events every 4 years, but this notion of, 2 years of crypto winter, 2 years of bullish cycle or bullishness could be over. Maybe we won't have 6 months of crypto winter. I guess we'll see. What are your thoughts on SUI for this cycle? I think a lot of people are talking about because it's recently spiking, which is, I don't know why, but it is. But you got to be careful because there are going to be some huge token unlocks coming that could suppress the price down. But outside of that, I think they're promising. Pretty fast chain, good development base. You got some good dApps on there. But be careful. People always ask something when it's skyrocketing right now, right? Generally speaking, when you have so many people asking about something, that's usually a local top and it's ready to come down. There are a lot of people asking about SUI because they're noticing it's going up. So be careful. That could be an indication that it's going to come down. Crazy. I thought the battery warranty replaced the battery. No. That's if the whole thing like dies. But if it slowly loses its charge, they're not going to replace the battery. Yeah, I just covered helium. I mean, this is pretty bullish, right? 2 large US carriers. They're already working with T-Mobile, so who else is there? Has to be AT&T and Verizon. Right? And if they're working with helium and Helium Phone can now use all 3 carriers plus their own 5G network, man, that's pretty crazy. That's pretty crazy. Do you think Avalanche will touch 200 this bull run? 10x? I think it can. Let's see. I mean, it was at 125. That's like 6x from here. So to break through that, there's a possibility. Yes. Possibility. Thoughts on Litecoin hitting 1K? I don't know about that. Don't know about that. It's not even 100 yet. But can it hit 1K? Ooh. It topped out at almost 400. Can it break through 400 and go to 1K? I'm going to say no. It could get close. Can it break through 400, 500, 600, 700, 800? Maybe. 1,000? I don't know. I don't know. I don't think so. CryptoPunk, before 2025, what would be your best case scenario for Bitcoin holdings personally? Total holdings, bull, bear, assuming still purchased. Do you care to disclose? Use my $10 to buy. What? What would be your best case scenario for it? Of course, I'm not going to reveal that, man. I'm sorry, but why would I reveal that to you and to everyone else? No. But I do know it's going to be going up for sure through my DCAing. Do you think IFC will ever be aired on mainstream media outlets? I hope so. I mean, it's still early. It's only been around for 8 months. The first one was in January. We had 3. The next one will be Singapore. I'm working my butt off on it, and Karate growing. Karate Combat is growing. So I hope sometime next year we can be making all the greatest fights. And grow, the distribution and make it into a powerhouse, right? The de facto place for influencers to fight. Hopefully, that's a dream right now. I'd say we're off to a good start. What are your thoughts on SEC saying DeFi under jurisdiction? Yeah, doesn't really matter. Gary's out anyway, so we'll see who the next person is first before panicking. I've been DCing since 2022. I've been in green since mid-23. Congrats. I mean, tomorrow is my DCA night, right? Tomorrow's Wednesday. Bring up the DCA portfolio. But, we'll see what happens tomorrow. I think good things will happen tomorrow. All right, guys. Stay strong. Stay focused. I'll see you guys tomorrow, 8:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. We'll see how the inflation numbers come in and whether or not we're going to get a huge explosion. Could. Very well could. All right. Take care. Last question. Opinions on Blanc, Jupiter, and OR. The first two I'm a fan of. Not sure about OR. Is it core or OR? All right. Take care. Bye-bye.